Hey everyone, my name is Jennifer Dowell and I am just now trying to start my YouTube channel. Um, I don't know what the YouTube channel is going to be about yet. I like to do makeup and get ready with me. I like story times. Um, I like vlogging, so it's probably going to be a little bit of all that. I don't even know if I'm filming this in the right, if it's supposed to be landscape or whatever, so this is kind of a whatever. But I wanted to sit down and put on makeup and kind of do like a get to know me a little bit. I've had a lot going on the past 2 years and basically my whole life, but the last 2 years has been kind of crazy. And so I kind of wanted to do, look at my hair, y'all. I kind of wanted to do stories about that, but I kind of needed to start from somewhere without just starting that story. So, and like I said, I'm going to be just doing my makeup and talking because I don't want to just be like sitting here and not doing anything and just talking to you guys. But my name is Jennifer. I live in Oklahoma. I have 3 kids. One is 22, one is 20, and one is 17. The 17-year-old is the only one who's living in the house with me. The other 2 have grown up and moved out. My oldest daughter, Michaela, is 22. I have a son, Nathan, who's 20. He's the 20-year-old. And then my daughter, Landry, is my 17-year-old. My oldest daughter lives about an hour and a half away from me and in Norman, Oklahoma. And then my son lives about 30 minutes away from me. And he has a fiance and a baby. So I'm also a grandmother, or she will call me Lolly. She's 7 months old now, so she doesn't really call me anything. But she's going to call me Lolly. I go by Lolly. Her name is Cadence. Love her to death. And 41 years old. I'll be 42 this year in December. Just, I guess, a little bit about me. In high school, had a high school sweetheart. We were together since we were 15. Right out of high school, I got pregnant and we decided to get married. And so I was 18. I was 18 when we got married, 19 when I had my baby girl. And we were together, well, technically we're still married, but we're not together. But we've been together on and off except for the past 4 or 5 years. I've been living separate from him. Like this is just powder. The 4 or 5 years I've been living separate with him. We don't talk really. He doesn't have anything to do with my kids. He got really bad into alcohol and drugs and he couldn't get off of them. And he chose that life over our life with our kids. And so I should have left a long time ago in the marriage to save 20 years, 10 years of my life, because it was a lot of stress. It was a lot. But I didn't because I wanted to hold our family together, keep our family together. So that's kind of what happened with that. But I know where he's at. I mean, we have each other's phone number. I can text him. Sometimes he'll respond, sometimes he won't. And my kids, I mean, they're old enough now that they've just basically decided that even if he did come back in the picture and want to have anything to do with them, that they would not choose to have anything to do with him. And as far as my granddaughter goes, with my son and his wife, fiance, he will probably never see my granddaughter. So I just say that's his loss. That's his loss, not mine. I'm going to do the violetvoss Essentials palette. And I'm going to go in with this sand color right here first. No, actually, I'm going to go in. Yeah, I'm going to go with that sand. No, I'm actually going to take this color right here. This is a unique palette. And I'm just going to go all over the lid with that one because I kind of like to have something all over the lid to begin with. I've got a mirror set up here. But, so, yeah, and I'll get into it in further, like, episodes, but my whole marriage, my whole that whole thing, I have tons and tons and tons of story times. Sorry, you guys can hear my cat. Tons and tons and tons of story times that you will not even believe the stuff that I've went through. Just stuff you won't believe that it's even happened to me, but it has. So I have a lot of stories to tell. I don't know if I want to get into this video about the whole past 2 years or not, but my 17-year-old was going through a lot. She was being bullied at school. She just had a lot going on. Like I said, with being bullied, she was depressed. She started cutting. So we were dealing with that. She got sent away to a bunch of hospitals, and that was not because I necessarily wanted to send her. I had no choice. As a matter of fact, one time the school called me and said, I guess they found out that she had been cutting or something, and so they called me and they called some counselors in there, and I at that point did not want to send her away to a mental hospital. She was already in counseling. And so I just didn't want to send her away. I didn't feel like being locked up in a facility is what she needed. I know she needed counseling. I know she needed help. But being locked up in a facility, I did not think that she needed. But the school and the police basically made me sign her in. The police officer, when I refused to, he jumped on me, put my hands behind my back, like this way. Up this way, stretch them all up over behind my head, and I have rheumatoid arthritis, so that killed me. Marched me out to the squad car and said, if I do not sign her into the long-term facility, then I'm going to be arrested. So I'm scared to death that I'm going to go to jail. Scared to death. I didn't know what else to do. I didn't have anybody else there to talk to me. Like I said, I raised her on my own, so it's not like I had help from anybody else. What do I do? I didn't have anybody there. I didn't know what to do. So I signed her in. I was afraid of going to jail. I don't even know if that's legal for them to do that. To this day, I still don't know. That's just something that happened. And honestly, I have like PTSD from that day because of how that officer treated me. We live in a small town, and the cops to me get away here with a lot of crap that they really shouldn't. And so it's really sad. So she got sent away that time. She got sent away a few times. Probably like 7 times, I want to say. And mostly she would be at friend's house, and then I would get a phone call saying that the police were over there because she had a friend who was cutting too. And they would end up calling the police, and then that would get them sent to the hospital again. If she got sent to our emergency room, then it's an automatic. She had to go to a lockup. There's nothing you can do, which sucked. But I dealt with that. Then one time I took her to her counseling. I'm going to guess get into this a little bit. I took her to counseling. She had fresh cuts on her arm. So I was telling them at this point, I was like, she does need something more long-term because when she was getting sent away to these hospitals, she was getting sent away for like a week and 2 weeks at a time and then getting sent home, and there was no improvement. She was just as bad or worse. It's just, she couldn't get the help that she needed in a week at a facility. And all they do is throw a bunch of medications at her, put her on a bunch of medications, and just make sure that she's stable or whatever, or what they say stable at her medications. And then they send her home. And so I thought, well, these are not working. I need to get her into something more long-term, like something for a few months that's going to help her out here. So we went into her counseling that day, went in to talk to her counselor. She had fresh cuts on her arm. They saw it. They knew she had fresh cuts. But this was on a Friday. They said there's nothing that they could do until Monday, until the counselor or the doctor was in the office. And the doctor's the one who had to send her, had to write the papers to send her. So they gave me like a safety plan to go over for the weekend. Like, she couldn't be by herself in the room. She had to keep the door open, all this stuff to go by. Well, she kept running out of the counseling place because she was angry. She was just angry. She kept running out. I had to keep running after and getting her. At one point, I actually had to call the police and have them make her get in my car because she was running off. She would not get in my car. It was out on a highway, like a 2-lane highway. It wasn't wasn't like a huge city highway, but it was still a highway. And so the police officer like made her get in my car, and we go on home, and I'm making her keep her door open. I stopped and gotten food because we hadn't eaten all day. And so we got Chicken Express. I even to this day I know what it was. We got Chicken Express. And she wouldn't eat it. She kept wanting to go in her room. I said, that's fine, just keep the door open. She was in there. Then I hear her in the bathroom. So I go in there like wondering, what is she doing? What is she doing in the bathroom? So I go in there and she's holding her arm under the water, like running water. So I'm like, and I see blood. I see blood coming off her arm. So I'm like, okay, she's cut herself again. So I turn off the water and I look at her arm, and she had probably like 5 cuts on it. There was a lot of cuts. There was quite a bit of cuts on it. But I looked at them. None of them were deep. They, to where she needed medical attention. As far as the cuts, I knew that Monday we were going to go back to the counseling office, and she was going to get help. So we were basically just trying to make it through the weekend. So I cleaned up her arm, cleaned up her cuts. I'm just kind of throwing makeup on you guys. I'm going to go back and fix it later. And I'm not a professional, as you can tell. But anyways, she went back in her room. The next thing I know, there is a knocking on the door. And I go over there, and it's the police. The police are at my front door. So I let them in, and they say that they know that Landry's there and she's cut herself. I guess she was talking to one of her friends on the phone, and one of her friends called the police and told them what happened. So they were telling me, they were angry with me and why I hadn't taken her to the hospital yet. And I'm a nurse, you guys. Well, I'm not working as a nurse, but I have a nursing license. And so I'm not like an idiot when it comes to like wounds and cuts and all that stuff. And I was trying to explain to the officers everything that had happened at the counseling appointment, and how we were going to get her some help on Monday. And I tried to sit here and explain everything that was happening, and they just didn't want to hear it. They were telling me that I was going to have to take her to the hospital. And I said, I'm not taking her to the hospital. I'm not taking her to the hospital. I refuse to take her to the hospital. I just refuse. She doesn't need to go there. We're getting her into long-term help on Monday. Why does she need to go to the hospital? They're just going to have to find her a bed wherever we'll take her. That's another thing. It's not like you get to choose the facility. It's like wherever the facility, if they have a bed open. And some of these facilities were like 2, 3, 4 hours away from my home, and I would have to drive out there. And so we could do like counseling and all this stuff. It was really, really, really hard to keep up with that. So hard. And they didn't like the fact that I was refusing to send her to the hospital. So the next thing I know, Child Protective Services is at my door with the police. And they continue to tell me that she has to go to the hospital. There's no way around it. She has to go to the hospital. And I don't want to take her to the hospital. I sat there and tried to explain what was happening, how she's been to these rinky-dink hospitals this whole time. It's not working. Blah, 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 blah. They don't freaking care. So, believe it or not, this was when Landry was 15, too. This happened 2 years ago. She's 17 now. This was when she was 15. So, they ended up taking her away from me. I lost custody of my daughter that night, basically, because I did not want to take her to the hospital, even though I was trying to get her help. I just didn't want her to go to like one of those centers that was not helping her. It was not doing anything for her. She was just going in there for a week or two and coming back out and cutting again and going back in and cutting again. It was like this stupid cycle. It was doing absolutely nothing for her to be there. Nothing. I didn't understand it. It makes me speechless to this day. I don't even know how they were able to take her away from me for that. They titled her a neglected child. That's what she was filed under, was a neglected child. A neglected child that I had going to long-term help because nobody else wanted to really help me with her. I couldn't really get help from any of these places. No one wanted to help me. I'm basically trying this by myself. I'm in it by myself. I don't have a partner. I don't have her dad. I don't have anybody else there to help me with it. And so, yeah, I lost custody of my 15-year-old daughter that night. And so they sent her to a hospital. I think the first one she went to was more of, I don't think she stayed in the first one very long. I think she ended up going to a more long-term one later on, because I think the first one was all of them. They were just a week or two. They weren't, they were just a week or two facility. They weren't doing anything. So she stayed there. And I thought, and then she went to more of a long-term facility. Oh, she also went to a shelter. My daughter was placed in a children's shelter. In a children's shelter. So they're trying to tell me that my home, she's better off in a children's shelter than she was at home. I mean, that's bull crap. That is such bull crap. And so I thought, well, once she gets out of treatment, I'll be able to get her back. I mean, she'll come home. No, that did not happen. She ended up going to foster care. In the end, it was three different foster homes that she went to, because the first one, she was basically telling them they needed to get her out of there or she was going to run away, because just the lady that was there was so mean to her. It was a bad neighborhood. She was throwing parties during the week and keeping my daughter up at night. It was just a scary place for her to be, for all these people that were coming over to that lady's house. It was freaking my daughter out. And so they finally got her out of there. Her second foster home, I really, really liked that lady. We kept in contact. And obviously me and my daughter kept in contact, even when we weren't supposed to. Even when they were saying I could not call on the phone, I could not do this, I could not do that, I still kept in touch with my daughter. Willow, shh. I still kept in touch with her. And so she was, like I said, I had to go to numerous court visits. I had to take parenting classes. I had to go to a victims class, because Landry told them that her dad had been abusive towards me and her, and he was not abusive towards her. He was never abusive towards her. He was not really abusive towards me either. She's talking about, there was one incident one time where he had locked me in the bedroom and wouldn't let me out. and they were screaming to open the door. And so I think that that's what she was more or less talking about, was more of that incident, because that's really the only thing that happened. He never really was, he wasn't violent with me, and not with them either. But I mean, we had our share of fights, trust me. Both of us did. How's that look? I don't even know if you guys can see that. Is this too bright? So, and her dad did not do anything. He was required to take all the classes that I took and everything I did if he wanted to be able to see her. And he didn't. He didn't take any classes that he needed to take. He did not take any classes that he needed to take to get to see her. And so, yeah, it took me, I just got her back this year. I just got her back this year. In August, September, what is it? August, September, June, July. I think it was in August is when she finally got to come back. And she's still in DHS custody. They're still like looking over us for a few months. But we go back to court this month. And it'll be all over with. They won't have to follow our case anymore. We won't have to do anything with them, because they like randomly come out to the house. We have to do like worker visits, all this stuff. It's not really like that big of a deal. It's just kind of annoying, but it's crazy how they have way too much power. I'm sorry, but they have way too much power over our kids, DHS and stuff. Way too much power. There is no reason that my daughter, there's no reason I should have gotten her taken away. Never. And then they wanted to hound me because of my medications that I had to take, that I have to take for my arthritis, saying that I didn't need to be on certain medications. And yeah, it was just like this big fucking mess. Big fucking mess. And this consumed years. And then when she comes back, I mean, to be gone from 15 to 17, you know how much kids change from 15 to 17? A lot. They change a lot. And yeah, I was getting to see her during that time, but it's like she wasn't living at home. She wasn't under my rules. And so it's kind of, we're readjusting to each other. It's been good. I mean, my daughter's back home. I'm happy as hell. So it's been really good. It's just been kind of hard, but so anyways, that is some of the stories that I wanted to share on this channel with you guys. There's lots more, you guys. I have stories about threesomes. I have stories about breaking into places. I have stories about lots of stuff. I'm just lots and lots of stuff that I'm wanting to tell you guys on here. So I am hoping that you guys will subscribe and hang in there for some videos to come. Like I said, on this one, I kind of just wanted to like get on here and just kind of to like tell you guys a little bit about who I was. It's hard when you're starting out like a YouTube channel. Like, where do you start from? It's so hard to know, like, where do you start from? Like, I had no idea where to like start this. So it's kind of hard to know, like, where do you start? You just come in and say, hey, my name is this and here's my channel. I don't know. I do have one other vlog video on here. I don't know if I'm going to keep on here because it's stupid. And the editing and all that crap is just not going to be anything fancy right now because I don't know what I'm doing. I've got to figure this editing and get programs and all that stuff. So that's going to be like, just know for right now that that's going to be not good. Just the editing and stuff is not going to be good right now until I can get all that figured out. I'm trying to think of anything else. Oh, and like right now we're living in an apartment. I'm trying to move back to where my granddaughter is though, and my son. I'm trying to move back towards them, which is like 30 minutes away, like I said, because I want to be able to watch my granddaughter while they work. She is like the light of my life, you guys. I love that little girl more than anything. Love her. Trying to think what else. I guess if you guys, I don't know. You don't know me yet, so you can't say, ooh, I want to hear this, I want to hear that, because you don't really know me. So it's kind of hard to say. Tell me what you want to hear about, because y'all don't know me and y'all don't know what I've been through yet. So I guess that's it. I'm not finished with my makeup yet. I don't know if you guys want to, how long is this video going to be? This is a long video, and I don't even know if I'm going to edit it. I've cut my crease a little bit. I don't know if you guys can see that. And I'm just going in and I'm applying like a light eyeshadow over it. And then I'm going to go back and I think I'm going to do, what am I going to do? That was like a really pretty green. I don't know if I should do green though. Let me see this gold. How gold is that gold? Pretty gold. Let's do, I need I need another packing brush. This may have stuff on it. Let me see if I can get some. So I'll tell you some, like I said, since me and my husband got married when we were young, we've been through stuff. Have we been through stuff together? It's crazy, the stuff that we've been together. Like I said, that we can talk about. As far as places that we've gone and done the dirty, I can do story times on that, because we was a little naughty and had a lot of places that we went and did that because we were young and stupid. One time we were in the middle of something and we were parked on the side of the road because, hello, I guess when you're a teenager, you just can't wait. And plus, we weren't going to be doing that at my parents' house or his parents' house when they were there. And so we pulled over and yeah, next thing we hear is a knock on the glass. And it was the police. And like I said, I'll go more into depth on that too, because that's a story time. There is so much stuff, you guys. I've been wanting to start this channel like forever because I feel like I have a lot of stuff to say. I feel like I have a lot of stuff to talk about. It's just been like like I was saying, how do you freaking start a YouTube channel? Just go in here and start like talking. It's just, I don't know, like it's kind of intimidating just to go on here and start like, what do you talk about first? What is there to talk about? What is your first video that you make? That's why I was trying to do like a get to know me a little bit, but then it's like, how much do you say? How much do you not say? Like, I don't know how to do this. So, and like I said, I have no idea what this channel is even going to entail. I want it to be a little bit of everything. We may have mukbangs. We may have vlogging. And definitely story times, because like I said, I have a ton of stories to tell. So anyway, I'm going to click off this video and then I may come back when I have all my makeup on and show you the after. This is what I have so far, if you can see. I still need to do a little bit of blending that color, the gold in. So I'm going to pause it, finish with this, and I'll come back.